There's a new trailer that's been released for King of the Hill season 14, and they had a good amount of stuff in it, so let's talk about it. At the beginning of the trailer, we see who I think is Boomhauer's stepson, and Boomhauer going to go hug Hank after not seeing him after all of these years. And Hank is still Hank. He trying to get out of that hug, and we see more instances where it seems like he's still himself. There was a Zoom meeting, and I guess Hank didn't like what he heard. You already know how Hank gets. He told him he was going to kick his butt. Well, obviously I'm substituting the word. You already know what he says. With the times changing, later on, Hank was trying to figure out what restroom to use because those signs looked like it was throwing him off. And some guy told him they're all gender restrooms so they can use them. Hank got back in that car and asked Peggy if they're all gender. This part seems to be taking place on their way back home since we seen that guy driving them in the last trailer and dropping them off with their luggage. If that is the first episode, that's going to be one of the many things that Hank sees that changes. Also, during that scene we've seen before when Hank mentioned that he gave the guy 4 stars so that he'll have something to work towards. When he left, Hank said 5 stars should be rare in this world, and Peggy said they sure are because people told her whole life she's a 5. I was like, he talking about 5 out of 5 stars, not out of 10s. Either way, it was funny and was something that she would say. I like how based on the trailer so far, we're seeing them stick to how the characters act and what they say. For those who've been wondering where Bill was at because in the last trailer we didn't see him, just a glimpse at his house that looked unkept. Well, we see him in this trailer and he looks like he gained some weight. He let Hank know it's been a little hard with him and Peggy gone. He might have let himself go a little. It might be more than a little. I don't even know if he can get himself out of that bed by himself. I guess he really missed them, and if Hank was there, I don't think he would have let Bill go that far. You do gotta throw in there, during the intro, they did have a pandemic, and also, he probably was ordering stuff from Megalo Eats. But it is cool to see Bill with the beard, and hopefully things will get back in order for Bill since the Hills have returned. But it does seem like he'll be alright because we do see him again in the trailer. Moving along for Bobby, we see him at the restaurant. He's a chef at Robata Chain. If anyone's new to watching King of the Hill, the last part of the restaurant name is tied to a character that's in a series Chain Wasana song. And I apologize if I mispronounced that last name. Bobby's introducing himself to 2 customers, and in the background we can see a newspaper and it mentions its grand opening. Now things aren't going to go that easy for Bobby. In the kitchen there's a rat jumping on the food and running around, and the dude that's by the door don't even look like he's trying to help out. Either he's playing a game or he's recording what's going on. Bobby better hope those customers didn't go around to go check out what was going on because they absolutely gonna leave. Nobody's trying to eat with that running around. Although it does look like they're going to get some type of help because later on in the trailer, we see when Bobby's talking to Connie, Dale's in the background falling down. That's something else they're going to have to pay for, but it's going to make a funny moment. In another scene we've seen before, Bobby's trying to make beer and he's telling Hank new beer is fruitier, bolder, and Hank not trying to hear that. He told Bobby he's been drinking beer for 40 years and he never wished once that it tastes like fruit. We're going to be seeing them have some differences on this. I mean, we've seen Hank and the others mostly drink Alamo beer. So possibly Hank will come around and try the beer that Bobby makes. I wonder if that's going to happen at the restaurant where we've seen a scene of everyone gathered together, unless it's just to celebrate the restaurant. Later we see Bobby, Connie, and Joseph together and she is just laughing. You know it's that extra laugh because that dude Bobby look like he's mad. Joseph looks confused and there's a horse with a bow on it. I don't know what's going on here. Either Bobby got a horse as a gift or it's a prank. Either way, it's nice to see all of them together. It doesn't stop there for Bobby. He's kind of getting around. He brings a woman over for dinner and they start kissing in front of Hank and Peggy. Also, she's wearing a crystal and part of her head is shaved off. You already know how Hank's gonna react. Peggy said it in a funny way, but Bobby's new friend is a vegan and she was trying to figure out what to feed her. And Hank told her to throw some grass in a bowl. I don't think that's how that works. Do y'all remember something similar happening in the past? I think Bobby had went out with a vegetarian. Then there's another scene of him kissing someone else. It doesn't look like the same one from before. Another reason is because if you look at the table, there are some glasses, and the one before wasn't wearing any. This dude, Bobby, is moving. With all of that going on, for those that maybe want to see Bobby and Connie back together, maybe that'll happen in the future, unless something changes this season. Going back to Hank, we see he's a referee at a soccer game, which is interesting because we know he likes football. There was a moment in the trailer where Dale and Boomhauer were criticizing soccer because it looks like Boomhauer's stepson was practicing. So that could be one of the reasons why he's a referee in soccer, or unless his time away got him into the sport more. And going back to the older seasons, I think there was a time when Bobby had played soccer, well, at least for that episode. At some point in time when Hank is wearing that referee outfit, Dale kidnaps him. It's probably because he can't believe he's a referee for soccer. Nah, I'm joking, but he has Hank tied up, and we see in the background the word trusted and question mark over some of those in the neighborhood. And Sleeper Cell is above the Hill family, which I guess he thinks they're some type of spy or something. In addition, he slapped Hank, and once he's free, you already know Hank gonna deliver a beating or a kick. Some other stuff we saw in the trailer, Peggy, Min, and Nancy are in the alley having a drink. And Peggy, she slaps the phone out of Nancy's hand. She must have read something that she didn't want to hear, or she must have wanted her to focus on the conversation and not be on her phone. Next, we see John Redcorn and Joseph riding horses. I don't know if this is a dream or not because of the background, but it looks like they're having fun. I do wonder if Joseph has realized that's his dad, or they just got close over the years. Speaking of years, we see that John Redcorn has aged. It's still wild to see that these characters are getting older, but it's still interesting to see how the characters will be and that everything is changing. Overall, it's nice to see that some stuff around them is changing and that the characters are still acting the same and the jokes are still there. But I'm interested to hear y'all thoughts. Comment below. What did you all think about the trailer, and was there anything that you noticed?